This is the news at 2200 hours, broadcasting live from Banjul with me, Fatima Sise, and in our top stories, Senegal's gendarmerie chief holds talks with President Barrow, and the overseer of the vice presidency, Aja Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, presides over the launch of the biofortification project. And in the internationals, President Salva Kiir says police will replace the army for the protection of senior government officials. Plus, South Africans mark World Ranger Day, paying tribute to the men and women who protect the country's wildlife. Well, these plus other stories will come up in just a moment. Please stay tuned. The Senegalese Gendarmerie Wednesday called on His Excellency President Adama Barrow at Fajara. General Meise Niang arrived in the Gambia on Tuesday for discussions with senior government and security officials. Mamadou Jallow has the details.
The head of the Senegalese National Gendarmerie, General Meise Niang, accompanied by the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Masane Kinte, met the President at his office in Fajara. The two discussed cooperation between the two countries' respective security and defense institutions. Senegal is a major troop contributor to the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia, with its elite gendarmerie unit responsible for presidential security. General Niang reaffirmed Senegal's commitment to the Gambia's stability. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Masane Kinte, said the visit is very significant as it strengthens cooperation between the two services. Besides strengthening cooperation and coordination, the Gambia's military chief says it is also symbolic as it sends a message of unity between the two neighbors. Mamadou Jallow, GRTS News.
And the overseer of the vice presidency, Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, Tuesday presided over the launch of the biofortification project, and the European Union scheme is designed to improve nutrition in the Gambia, as Educator reports.
It should be recalled that the Gambia has experienced an alarming increase in malnutrition. Agriculture accounts for 23% of GDP and employs 75% of the rural population, yet food security is an increasing problem, with 285,000 people at risk of food insecurity, FAO 2014. Cereal production dropped by 23% overall from 2013 to 2014 as a result of environmental challenges and is on a declining trend despite increasing population.
That was their point of discussion that gave birth to the launching of this project, a 4-year initiative funded by the European Union through United Purpose, an international NGO whose focus is on reducing poverty and increasing economic growth.
This project will benefit to more than 18,000 families, households, and this represents 1/50 of the rural population of the Gambia. So it's it's small, but it's a very important project.
The project was €2.6 million, has its target on reducing high prevalence of nutrition and stunted growth, thereby strengthening access to the consumption of fortified food.
In the Gambia, our strategy for the current 5 years period focus on livelihood, job creation, resilience, capacity building of civil society organizations to support effective decentralization. As we embark on this action implementation process, which inevitably is about enabling quality food, what I ask of all our partners is to keep two questions at the front of our mind. How do we enhance nutritional security to those that have little or none?
Women and children under 5 are considered as the most vulnerable group with high rate of malnutrition. The project, as said by officials, is designed in a value chain approach which will help enhance access to the production and consumption of fortified food such as homegrown vegetables. The Women Affairs Minister highlighted the importance of the project, especially to the target group, whilst also outlining her government's support in the successful implementation of the project.
For us as Gambians, and particularly the government of the Gambia, it will serve as a pilot that will herald a tremendous wave of replication to every corner of this country. The project has the potential to reduce malnutrition in the country, thereby saving the government is very much needed foreign exchange, foreign earnings. And this will ensure, as I earlier stated, not only the health of women and children, but the empowerment of women and youths in the communities.
Officials are of the belief that this project will go a long way in improving the nutritional status of the vulnerable group, as it is to be implemented in 5 regions across the country. For GRTS News, I am Aissatou Keita.
And we move on to China, where the Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ousseynou Dabo, and his Chinese counterpart, Wang Yin, Tuesday signed an agreement on establishing a consultative mechanism between the 2 foreign ministries at a ceremony in Beijing. Rohibite has the details in this report.
The agreement signed is said to be key, as it formed the base for further cooperation in various sectors between the Gambia and China. The Gambia-China relations, according to the Gambia Minister of Foreign Affairs, was a fruitful one before 1994, in which the Gambia enjoyed a series of infrastructural development, among them the Independence Stadium. That cooperation is what they now aim to strengthen, as recent developments have seen some dividends since rekindling of ties. He was received by his Chinese counterpart, Mr. Wang Yi, as they held discussions before the signing of the agreement. This agreement signing is among many activities of Minister Ousseynou Dabo's visit to China, but according to him, this forms the most important part of his visit.
Probably the most important aspect of the visit was the seeks to set up a consultation mechanism through by which we can engage in discussions on various fields, education, agriculture, infrastructure development, and so forth. So it provides a mechanism by which the government of China and the government of Gambia can consult each other on matters of mutual interest.
In what was another remarkable engagement on Monday afternoon, Foreign Affairs Minister Dabo and the Chinese Minister of Commerce, Ken Kemin, signed an 82.85 million renminbi debt cancellation on to China by the Gambia in honor of his official visit. Also, a grant of 300 million renminbi for the construction of an international conference center and 200 million renminbi development assistance to the Gambia for 2017. The Foreign Affairs Minister's week-long visit will witness a series of engagements with the Chinese public and private sector in Beijing and other cities of the Guangdong province. Rohibite, reporting for GRTS News from Beijing, China.
And in the Upper River region, stray dogs in the bustling town of Basse continue to be a major problem for the community. Residents say dogs sometimes dig up graves at the town cemetery. Is also on the GRTS caravan tour has more.
In the cosmopolitan town of Basse, dogs can be seen roaming in the streets on a daily basis. At this time of the year, feeding for these stray dogs becomes a major problem. While they may or may not feed on dead bodies, the fact that they sometimes dig up graves is quite worrying for the people here.
As you have just seen when you enter there, sometimes stray dogs do come and enter in the graveyards and dig the graves. So sometimes when you bury the young babies, the pigs do come, enter there and dig the grave. We're trying to raise some funds so that we can adjust the fence of the graveyard and also to make the doors.
This is the Basse cemetery, and as you can see, people here are quite worried. The fence that surrounds this cemetery is very short, and the stray dogs and pigs that are living just next to the cemetery here scale the fence and normally dig the new graves that are here. So this is a concern for the people here. However, the community is mobilizing efforts with support from natives of the community living in the diaspora to raise some funds and indeed upgrade the fence that surrounds this cemetery here. These pigs that are reared a few yards away from the cemetery often make their way to the graveyard when the gate is unceremoniously left open. This has also unsettled the residents here. Words may not be enough to describe the awful sight of a dog feeding on the corpse of a baby. But undoubtedly, the bizarre nature of the whole issue here is set to stretch the limits of tolerance for animal rights and the reasonable logic of protecting society in the face of such a shocking menace. Few meters away from the cemetery is the main ground where people gather to observe the respective Eid prayers. This place here is also the scene of indiscriminate waste dumping.
It's unfortunate that we cannot explain how it has been dumped here, because most of the time some of these people who come to dump indiscriminately at all times. That's why as dwellers of the community, we're very concerned. This is not the first time we have been coming here. In fact, there was a time Hamidou Jah supported in making sure the entire dump site has been excavated to his garden. But to our surprise, once again, it has come back. So this is a cause of a concern to us, the community.
SRSO, GRTS News.
And the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education Tuesday visited project sites on the ministry to assess the state of ongoing works, and Samuel Ba was with the team, and he tells us more.
The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, accompanied by senior officials of her ministry, on Tuesday embarked on a mission to some project sites in the Greater Banjul areas and the West Coast region. The projects are construction works in selected grant-aided schools in the build-up to the upcoming academic year.
And that makes me very, very encouraged that we are moving towards providing access for a lot more children. Now, these buildings that are being put up are going to provide accommodation for a lot more children who want to access education. And is going to provide the type of environment, the type of conducive environment that will motivate the children to be able to learn and to learn well.
Muhammad Yadaliu Savage Bilingual School is benefiting from a 4-classroom block among other facilities. The idea is to upgrade the school among 70 other madrasas to be at par with conventional schools.
We are one of the 70 schools that are being funded by IDB Gambia to improve the standard of madrasas throughout the country. We have realized that education collectively has to be everybody's business. And if we want to involve everybody in the Gambia, we have to involve the kids that are going to madrasas.
With this building, alhamdulillah, we can enroll more students in this school, as people are coming from all walks of life to this school, and this is going to give us the opportunity to have more space for them.
Brufut Upper and Senior Secondary School is being supported with an 18-classroom block by the MRC Holland Foundation.
We will be having 18 classrooms and 6 offices. That will be very good because the school was also upgraded for the senior secondary school.
Kabafita Upper and Senior Secondary School in Brikama West Coast region, like many other urban schools, has been faced with challenges of accommodation. The 30 classroom block, according to school authorities, will surely address that need.
If delivered, this is going to be a big relief on the school in terms of accommodation. In the past, when admission comes, it's a nightmare for everybody, for the principal, for the parents, for everybody. This is going to go a long way in trying to solve the accommodation problem. We know that there are a lot of children out of school, particularly around these areas, Combo North, Combo South, Combo Central. All right, but with these classrooms, it's going to really alleviate that problem.
Work at Kabafita is near completion, and the contractor Solo Dabo has promised to deliver on time. Education officials say the visit was worth making to boost the morale of the workers to fast-track work ahead of the 2017-2018 academic year.
The visit was one that was worth making. I knew there were building projects going on, but I did not know it was to this extent. And the buildings had gotten to this level, to this point where they are.
Samuel Bach, GRTS.
And the Global Environment Facility Project, GEF, recently provided farmers in the North Bank and the Lower River regions with farming equipment to enhance production. Louis Mendy has more in this report.
One of the best ways to help alleviate hunger and poverty in the country is to support the production of rice and millet as the nation's major diets. The Global Environment Facility Project has again done that by donating rice threshers, power tillers and milling machines to the communities of Dar es Salaam in Jokadu and Ilyasa in the North Bank region, plus Tendapa in the Lower River region. The beneficiary communities couldn't hold back their gratitude.
In the past, we traveled 4 kilometers from Basilame to Munyagen to mill our cereals. It is time-consuming and expensive. The machines will drastically reduce post-harvest loss. It is good for us because in Ilyasa, farming is our major source of livelihood.
In the past, we till our swamps and pound our cereals using bare hands. We travel 4 to 15 kilometers from Tendaba to Kabada and to Kianquinala to mill our cereals. With these power tillers, rice threshers, and milling machines, our troubles are over.
The donation is expected to boost rice production in the areas as well as reduce post-harvest losses, thereby improving the livelihoods of the people.
The resilient component looked at the livelihood aspect of the project. We believe for the communities to be resilient to climate change, we have to improve on their livelihoods. For these particular 3 villages, we thought we could improve on the livelihood coming through the agricultural aspect of it.
The Global Environment Facility, also called the GEF project, is designed to enhance resilience of vulnerable coastal areas and communities to climate change in developing countries. On the home front, the GEF project is being implemented by the National Environment Agency. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
And the International Organization for Migration on Tuesday held a forum on the draft migration profile of the Gambia. The program, which brought together stakeholders, discussed the issue of illegal migration. Mary Ann Jai Ajayi has the details.
Statement, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of the Interior, Lamin Camara, said the Irregular Migration Unit at the Gambia Immigration Department has already put up strategies to minimize the number of migrants leaving the country. He admitted that there are challenges, particularly the porous Gambian borders.
Prosecuting and policing individuals who traffic people out of the country. Ensuring development within the Gambia is accelerated so that there is little desire to leave. Educating citizens about the dangers of the back way and how to succeed within Gambia.
He also noted that government's plans are underway to create employment and employability for the youth folk to enhance their lives and livelihood skills. IOM Chief of Mission in the Gambia, Fumiko Nagano, said a project called Free Movement of Persons and Migration, West Africa, has also commenced the process of supporting the government of the Gambia to develop its national migration policy. She hoped if the migration process is finalized, it will go a long way in coordinating the overall migration activities of the country as well as strengthen national development programs.
We at IOM are very excited about the impact that this migration profile, once validated and finalized by the government, can have to support the development of the Gambia's migration policy.
The Director General of EU Mission, Carola Montesi, reaffirmed her office's continued support to tackle challenges confronting irregular migration in the Gambia.
And the European Union is really engaged to firmly support the Gambia.
Participants at the forum hoped the outcome of the synergy, if implemented, could urgently help in addressing issues affecting irregular migration. Marian Jai Ajayi, GRTS News.
And we will take a break, but coming up next is the international stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, and let's move on to South Sudan, where the president there, Salva Kiir, has ordered all soldiers serving as bodyguards to his officials to return to the barracks. He says senior officials will be protected by police officers. The move is aimed at reducing pressure on the military to allow soldiers to carry out their national security obligations, CGTN's particularly reports.
Issued the order following an increase in the number of states and their demand on the army to provide guards to the governors, their deputies, commissioners, in addition to many of the national ministers and their deputies. Currently, some government officials are guarded by up to 50 soldiers. President Kiir has now directed that all soldiers report back to their respective units, and those providing guards to government officials be replaced by the police. President Kiir has also ordered a reduction in the number of guards. State governors will now have to be guarded by 30 police officers maximum, deputy governors 10, speakers of parliaments and their deputies 10, while ministers will have 5 police officers.
Anybody with soldiers from the SPLA soldiers should surrender these SPLA soldiers immediately. And the police has been directed to provide the necessary protection to all the constitutional post holders. So instead of us using the army for protection, the army should be released so that it can go and perform its functions and duties.
The information minister says exceptional cases may be granted for government officials who are operating in areas that still experience clashes between government and opposition forces. Others in South Sudan believe the government wants to use the exercise to try and clean up the army payroll by bringing in all its soldiers together and ascertaining the exact number of the men and women in uniform. Patrick Koyet, CGTN, Juba, South Sudan.
And from South Sudan there to South Africa, where the country has paid tribute to the game rangers who patrol and protect the country's national parks. This year, World Ranger Day has been commemorated at the Mountain Zebra National Park in the Eastern Cape. Rennie Dekam was there, and she tells more.
A celebration of the role that rangers play in protecting the rich biodiversity in South Africa's 19 national parks. And a salute in honor of those who lost their lives or were injured in the fight against wildlife crime.
We go out of our way to preserve nature, our natural heritage, and we have a lot of respect for those guys that has fallen on duty. So basically this day is to remember those guys.
It's a day when we celebrate, first of all the rangers out there who are doing this hard yet magnificent job of keeping our nature. And to me, it's just saying thank you to them and wanting to make sure that other people, young growing rangers, they see all the beautiful work that we do and want to become a ranger.
South Africa's Department of Environmental Affairs says rangers in parts of the country face many hardships in their efforts to protect species such as the elephant, the rhino, and abalone.
I've been doing this job for the last 11 years, and in my view, a lot have changed. A lot of things have changed, especially with the poaching that have escalated. But I take my head off to the guys, to my comrades that are always on the ground. We're always fighting poaching.
The ongoing battle against poaching has led to nearly the entire Ranger Corps in South Africa being converted into anti-poaching units. Men and women who put their lives on the line on a daily basis to guard the country's natural heritage.
To the rangers who are saying, you are the heroes as rangers, who are out there day and night, raining and hot, windy, not windy, protecting the heritage, that belongs to the present and the future generations. The world is saluting you for what you are doing for these natural resources.
But despite the danger they face on a daily basis, most field rangers in South Africa's national parks say they regard their profession as a calling.
Nature chose me. I didn't choose it. Since as a young girl, a little girl, I was always out there in the wild. Being a ranger to me is the best ever. I'm enjoying it. I love it. The field, the nature. When you're around nature, everything becomes calm. You get to know more of yourself, and you get to understand why do we really have to conserve this beauty around us.
For these men and women, one of the most powerful weapons in the dangerous fight against environmental crime is their dedication to the job. Renad Al-Kham, CGTN, Mountain Zebra National Park, South Africa.
And we'll take another break, but when we return, the news continues right after. Stay tuned. Before we take leave of you, a quick recap of our top stories once again. The visiting Senegalese gendarmerie chief, Maïssa Niang, has held talks with President Barrow. And the overseer of the vice presidency, Adja Fatoumata Diallo Tambadjang, Tuesday launched the biofortification project. And the President Salva Kiir has said that police will replace the army for the protection of senior government officials. Plus, South Africans have marked World Ranger Day, paying tribute to the men and women who protect the country's wildlife. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10 with me, Fatoumata Sisay. Thank you for joining us, and keep watching.